Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Today I thought I would share with you some of the fall colors that we have here in our Tennessee garden, and you can kind of see how things look, and maybe one of these plants will be something that you want to put in your garden for next season so you can enjoy the fall color too. So let's go take a look around and let me show you what we've got as far as fall color goes this year in 2020. Probably one of the more spectacular fall colors that we've got going right now is this Shasta viburnum. Now, Shasta viburnums are just gorgeous in the springtime when they've got their flowers, but they also are really, really nice looking in the fall. They've got this burgundy colored leaf that it really pops out there. Now, what's interesting about this particular one is that the side that's facing the sun is getting most of the color right now, and then it's kind of still green over here on this opposite side. And you can see some of the tips are starting to turn on these. Pretty soon the whole thing will be all this nice burgundy color, and it'll be really nice. So it's really a plant that you can enjoy for at least 3 seasons of interest. The spring, the summertime with the foliage, and then you get berries if you've got a second pollinator plant. In fact, the berries are all gone on this particular one because the birds have partaken of them. Sometimes also in the fall you'll get a little bit of extra flowers that bloom, some secondary flowers that pop out, which is kind of cool. It's a neat little bonus that you might get out of your viburnum. And that's the Shasta viburnum. Here you can see some of the fall color happening on the witch hazel. We got some browning on it, of course, but you can see this nice yellow starting to form as it goes through. The whole plant doesn't pop out at one time, so it's not like spectacular like a ginkgo might be, but it does put out some nice colors. It's got some yellows and stuff here. Just kind of ignore the brown a little bit. But witch hazel, it is very fragrant in the winter time. You'll notice right here we've got some buds forming for the flowers, and those buds will put out a whole lot of scent in the air, and it's a favorite for warm days for the bees, because I will get honeybees all over these things in the wintertime when they emerge from their hives, and it's good to have around to give them a little bit of nourishment in the middle of the winter and help them make it through. You know, maple trees are always a favorite fall color tree for me, and this particular one I planted several years ago, and you can see at the very top it's starting to get some golden leaves on it. It's not fully at peak yet. I'll have to share again another video with you when it's a little closer to peak, but it is a gorgeous tree. This one is one of my favorites. And not far off, we've got some crepe myrtles, and the crepe myrtles put out a really nice color most of the time. And it tends to kind of go between orange and red. You can see here on some of those leaves there. But they do some nice fall color, and check that out over there. See it a little better, some gold in there too, but really cool. And if you like crepe myrtles, check out my video on propagating crepe myrtle trees. It's very easy to do. I'm going to do another video on hardwood cuttings with crepe myrtles before too long, because this winter that's going to be a great thing for us to work on. The other thing I like about the crepe myrtles though is the bark. Now I messed up here on the pruning of this one because this particular trunk I probably should have cut out. But if you check out the bark, it's just got this mottled bark. It exfoliates a little bit. You can see this is normal. You know, some of that bark peels off, and it makes these nice splotches. It's a really cool tree. Looks like somebody was climbing on mine. Some claw marks. That's interesting. Here we've got another red maple, and it's got some really nice fall color. It's gotten so tall though, it's a little harder to see those leaves. There's a few down here toward the bottom. And maples, they're not all good plants to have in your yard. You need to go for like a sugar maple or a red maple variety, Acer rubrum. You do not want to go for a silver maple. And the reason being, the silver maples, if you look at the roots here, this particular red maple, it does have a little bit of a root coming up on the surface. Silver maples have that in extreme quantities. They will have a ton of roots coming up from the surface of the soil, and they can get in the way if you're trying to grow a lawn, or if you're just trying to walk around. They can be very knotty and knobbly as you're walking around on the ground. So avoid silver maples. Go for more of a red maple, sugar maple, or one of the cultivars of those. And look at there, I've got a broken branch. Gonna have to get a ladder and get up there and take care of that. Another tree with amazing fall color are the sassafras trees. They have almost lost all their leaves, At least the smaller ones have. The taller ones are still holding on to some of those leaves up there at the top. But they have these mitten-shaped leaves. They also have 3 lobe leaves, 2 lobe leaves that look like a mitten, and then single lobe leaves. So they'll have 3 different lobes on the leaves on each of the trees there. And it is a gorgeous plant, one of the first ones to turn, and it holds on to the leaves for a good period of time. They are colonizers, so if you get a little bit of the sassafras going, it will spread and grow. And in fact, most of our sloped area over here was field at one time, and it eventually grew because sassafras started coming in, and it became a nice privacy screen between us and our neighbors. Now this isn't exactly fall color, but this is a variegated beautyberry that puts on this mottled variegated foliage, and it's got white berries. It's kind of a unique one, and I like it a lot. It's really cool, but it looks like this all year. So you're not really seeing fall color. This is more of just the everyday color from this variegated beautyberry. Now this tree looks pretty amazing. It's got some splotchiness and stuff from some fungal things happening, but this is a kousa dogwood. This is from Asia, and it actually started off as a dogwood that was grafted onto a kousa dogwood stock. And the top part of the dogwood died, and I just let the kousa dogwood emerge from the rootstock and grow into this beautiful plant here. It'll put on these berries that kind of look like these little balls, and those are the seed pods that I've been told they're edible. Never done it before. If you have, let me know. But it actually will bloom in the spring later than the typical Cornus Florida dogwoods do. So it is a good one to have if you're wanting a sequence of blooms. So you go with the native Florida dogwoods first, and then you have the kousa dogwoods happen second. And they'll be about 3 to 4 weeks apart as far as bloom time goes, usually. At least they are here in Tennessee. Now this is a beautyberry, and you can see why it's called that. It looks gorgeous there. It's not variegated. You can see the purple berries come in these huge clusters. And the birds kind of leave them alone until the very end of the season when it's the only thing remaining, and then they devour it. So it is a good thing for the native birds. This particular one is not the native American variety. This one is one from Asia, and I would recommend you plant the native variety over this particular variety here. And this one actually is seed grown. It does spread a lot, so you want to be careful with it. Not plant it in too many places because it will go all over the place. But if you're doing the American version, the native plant, you should, plant it as much as you want because it can take over and you'll like it. Right here is another crepe myrtle that has some really great fall color. This variety is called Centennial, and it just always looks good. It has red flowers in the summertime, and it's just a fantastic type of crepe myrtle to put in. Now this, of course, is not foliage. This is a flower, but this is from a camellia. This is winter snowman, a very beautiful camellia, and this will typically bloom about this time of year for us, which we're in the end of October and going into November. That's normal for this one, and it is covered in these bud clusters for flowers that look pretty cool on their own. That little bit of red on the tips, but it blooms white, and it's just a really cool plant to have in the garden, so it gives you some fall blooms. There's other varieties that will bloom later. Don't ask me which ones because I can't tell you off the top of my head. I'd have to do some research. This is Fothergilla, which is a really neat plant to have for some fall color. The spring blooms are pretty cool, but the fall color is always reliably an orange-yellow color. So it's always done really well. This is not the best it's ever looked. It's going to be looking a little better in probably another week or so when we've got some of these green leaves changing back over. But it will look, all in all, something like that when it's all changed over to the fall colors. I'm a huge fan of oak leaf hydrangeas for the flowers, and I like how they look for foliage in the summertime, but even in the fall they've got some good fall color. If you notice that leaves are starting to turn a little bit more of the purple burgundy kind of shades, and you got some hints of red happening here and there, and it's just a really cool one. Plus then you end up with these seed panicles here that you can collect the seed from if you want to and plant out. Or you can just kind of leave them on the plant where they kind of look neat, all nice and dried. But that's our oak leaf hydrangea. And unfortunately, this branch over here, we had the roof done last year, and I never cut off this branch. But when they were doing the roof, they actually broke this branch down at the base of the plant. And it's continued to grow and thrive. It's not having any problems. But I really need to remove this branch over here and just allow this particular one to grow up. That'll give me a little bit more growing space for the hostas that are underneath. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the fall color from our garden. I'll try to post a little bit more about our fall color as it progresses. There's a few things that are going to be coming out in a little while as far as the color goes that are going to look even better than what they do today. We are close to peak, but not quite there. I think over in the Smokies, we were there about 2 weeks ago visiting Cates Cove in that area, and we were a little bit early for the fall color out there. I think it's probably peaking there right now. But here in Middle Tennessee, where I'm at, we are just starting to get there, and look forward to sharing a little bit more with you later on. So please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.